So as we go to the next one, the first thing I did is figure out the dimension. It's a 3 by 3. So I made my 3 by 3 box and noticed if there wasn't a 1, I put a 1 in there for my own sanity, and then I multiplied and filled it out. The nice thing is, because this is in standard form and this is in standard form, it made it straightforward for me to find the matches. So first, negative 7x to the 4th. 7 plus 5 is 12x cubed. 7 minus 5 is 2. Minus 8 is negative 6x squared. Plus 3x plus 8. Now, if I have time at the end, I will take the question and set it equal to the answer so I don't lose points on silly mistakes. Let's look at the next one. In the next problem here, it's adding and subtracting, but first thing I need to do is change the signs of everything to the right. I want to make sure I write this in standard form. So first thing I have is negative 6x to the 4th. Cross it off when I'm done. Oops, it's a y. Careful. Then we go cubed. I have a negative 2 and a negative 1. That makes negative 3y cubed. Done, done. Then I have a positive 5 squared and a negative 7y squared, which is negative 2y squared. I have a negative 3y, done. And a positive 6 and a positive 4 is positive 10. I'll be honest, that was kind of messy for me, so I'd probably set that question equal to the answer, write it in pencil, and erase everything to make sure I'm good. Okay, so I want you to do this using long division, so I'm going to write C paper. Okay, and I think what I'm going to do is start it with you, then pause it, and then just write the rest. So the important thing is the setup. So x minus 2, negative 4x to the 5th. There is no x to the 4th. Plus 1x cubed. There is no x squared. And don't put a minus. It confused a couple people. Nothing is nothing. And then minus 9x plus 1. So, if anything, make sure you see the zeros. So this is always your divisor. So this is always what you're going to divide. So divide this into this is negative 4x to the 4th. Now, multiply, multiply. Negative 4x to the 5th, which is what you had to get. A negative and a negative make a positive. Subtract, change the signs of everything to the right. Bring down the plus 1x cubed. Stir and repeat. Now take this and divide it by that. I'm going to finish this, show you the answer, and then we'll go. So if you see I completely solved it, what I would do if I had time was take the answer and set it equal to the question. Okay? Let's go to the next one. Zoom in a little bit. What they want you to do is create a function in standard form. So, I need to make sure I write an f of x equals. I'm going to first start it in factored form, and then I'll distribute it all and get it into standard form. So whenever I see this, this means these are my zeros. These are my x-intercepts. So if I take the opposite of 5, that's negative 5. The opposite of 1 is negative 1. And the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. Okay? But the problem is they told me the y-intercept is negative 15. So there's some value right here that I've got to figure out. So when I plug it in, I can get it. I'm going to take the x value of 0 and plug it in for my x's, and my y value has to equal negative 15. So 0 minus 5 is negative 5, 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and 0 plus 1 is 1, and that gives me 5. But the problem is, I need to figure out what number goes in front. If I don't know what that is, I call it x. And I know it equals negative 15. So this is like 5x equals negative 15, divide by 5, x equals negative 3. What I figured out is what number goes in front. So now my function in standard form is negative 3, parentheses, x minus 5, x minus 1, x plus 1. That's my answer in factored form. Now they need it in standard form. Sorry about that. So in order to get in standard form, I need to multiply it. So honestly, what I would do is I know that this, when I have the same number and one's added and one's subtracted, when I do the box, I end up getting x squared minus 1. So this turned into x squared minus 1. You can do the box over here. I'm going to distribute the negative 3, and I'll get negative 3x plus 15. That's just the way I'm deciding to do it. Now I'm going to do another box over here. X squared minus 1, negative 3x plus 15, negative 3x cubed, 15x squared, 3x, and negative 15. If I'm going to write this in standard form, negative 3x cubed, these are not the same, so I don't put them together. And I get the answer. This is my answer in factored form. This is my answer in standard form. If this is the calculator section, I can check it by making sure this is equal to this. Once this is equal to this, I would graph it and make sure that my x-intercepts are here and my y-intercept is at negative 15. Because I don't have time, I'm not going to do that. Okay, find the roots. So I can either factor or I can do the PQ method. Honestly, I'm pretty good at factoring, so if I can avoid the PQ method, I'm going to do that. I notice they all have an x. I also notice there's 4 of them, so this looks like factor by grouping. I notice this is minus plus, and this is plus minus. So I'm going to change this minus plus to a plus minus. When I do that, I notice they both have 3 x's I can take out, and I want to take out a negative, and I'd be left with x minus 3. Let me show you my work over here. If you're struggling with the GCF, 1, 2, 3, 4 x's, 1, 2, 3. I took out 3 of the x's. I took out that negative, so then that became a negative. Now come over here, 4x, x minus 3. I'll show the work over here, 4x squared minus 12x, 4xx, negative 4 times 3x, x4, x4. That's how I took that out. There's my match, x minus 3, and then I'm left with negative x cubed plus 4x. I can set that one equal to 0 because that equals 3. That's no problem. But when I see here, I see that I still have 3 x's. I also see that I have something in common. So I'm going to keep factoring this one. And I want that to be a minus. So I'm going back and forth. So I'm going to take out a negative x, and then I'd be left with x squared minus 4. Now I'm left with another x. X equals 0. X squared minus 4, I can just set that equal to 0, add 4, square root, plus or minus 2. Or I can square root it like this, and I get x equals negative 2, and x equals positive 2. Okay? So there I have my 4 answers. If you would have preferred doing the PQ method, then I would like to point out that you had to put a plus 0 here when you're doing your PQ method. So PQ, negative 1, 3, 4, negative 12, 0. Now remember, if this is your P and this is your Q, your only options are plus or minus 0 and plus or minus 1. Well, if you look at that, I'm going to try 0 because I know if there's a 0 at the end. Bring down the negative 1. 0 plus 3, 3. 0 times 3, 0 plus 4, 4. 0 times 4 is 0. Minus 12 is negative 12. 0 times negative 12, boom, that's one of my factors. But now this is my new P, and that's my new Q, which means now I have options of plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 12. I think you can see why if you can factor, it's easier. And I'm just going to show you the 2, cross that off because now I'm focused there, bring down the negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 3 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 4 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12, minus 12 is 0. This is another factor. Now I know that it's plus or minus 6, so plus or minus 12 and plus or minus 4 are out. So I know what the answers are, so I'm just going to cheat a little bit. Negative 3, cross that off because now I'm focused here. Bring down the negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Negative 3, oops. Negative 3 was not one of the answers because negative 12 is negative 6. That doesn't work. I meant positive 3. So let's try that. Focusing here. Bring down the negative 1. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, plus 1 is negative 2. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, 0. Boom, there's my other one. My last one was -2, -1, boom, I have all my zeros. You can either do PQ, you can do factoring, or you can do a modified version. Okay. Let's look at the next page.